Well, hello, everyone. Aloha. Hello to everyone in the Facebook group watching this. Thanks for your patience. Amanda and I are going to crush this call from our vehicles. She just got out of the water surfing. I just raced down the road to get cell reception so I can use the hotspot. And we're going to pull this one off, right? Look at that surf suit. Cool.
Joining you from the car office today.
The carfus.
This is an important message. This really is a conversation that needs to be had. So I will pull myself out of the water for this.
All right. I ran out of the house without water, but my daughter's hydro flask is in here. So we are going to cheers really quick. Let's go. Cheers. Ah, Sandy's in her car too. Okay. Okay. All right. Amazing. Thank you all for being here. We're super excited. If you're in the Facebook group, drop hello, where are you tuning in from? If you're joining us as a guest on this call, we'd love to hear where you're from. And yeah, maybe what's your experience with water and hydrogen water at this point? We'd love to hear, and we're really excited to support you. I'm just gonna start screen sharing this presentation, and we're gonna get going. And yeah, thanks you guys for your patience today. Present. Cool. If anyone cannot see that, please come off mute and let us know. Also, sweet. All right, we're going to just dive in, you guys, because we've got a lot of information, and, we have been talking about this for a really long time, and I'm just super grateful to Amanda for joining and to putting tons of time and research into what we're about to share. So we're going to talk about the difference between hydrogen bottles and our medical grade water ionizers, our Kangen machines. Now, what we're going to talk about is really the machine that we share, and why this one, we're going to dive into a little bit about why this one is also superior. It's been around for so long, and yeah, there's other ionizers out there, but we're really going to be talking about this one because, again, there's no comparison to this one versus the other ones on the market at this time. So our attention is education. We're here today to share the importance of knowing what you're investing in, to learn the difference between two types of water devices so you can better serve and support your health and wellness. With that being said, if you have a hydrogen water bottle, you are on the right path to learning more about the water and proper ionization, molecular hydrogen creation. So if you already have one of these, give yourself a round of applause for even understanding that this is a level of hydration that is so important to your life. You guys, this is amazing. We're just going to take it a step further and further educate. So who are we? My name is Destiny. I love the water. I was born on the island of Kauai, and my parents put me in the ocean about 2 days after I was born. I love the ocean. I love being at the ocean, free diving, surfing with my daughter. It's really just my happy place. And I grew up in the snow, snowboarding, frozen water, lakes, and it's just, my life is really just rotated around spaces that have water. I grew up in Lake Tahoe, one of the biggest lakes in North America, and just super grateful to have been able to be in nature. But it really connected me to this source. And so after becoming a mom, I started looking into water. We had reverse osmosis, and I didn't quite understand why I was losing my milk supply until, honestly, just a few years ago, I realized, wow, it's because that house we lived in had RO, and I wasn't being hydrated properly. And then we had a Berkey, and I just went through all of the filtration, and it just became really apparent that this was going to be, if all else, this was going to be the most important investment in our life that I could control. I learned more about this water, about ERW water, electrically reduced water, and was kind of mind blown that this wasn't public knowledge in the United States. So it really got, it really hit a spot where I was like, okay, this is absolutely incredible. And after having a wonderful health testimony where my migraines went away, I can't say they were cured, but after drinking this water, they went away. Um, it was apparent that this was definitely an investment I was willing to make for us to have for the next quarter century in our home. Within 6 years, I've just seen so many lives change from these machines that we speak about, and just not even just in our community, globally. Over the years, the testimonies that have come out about these, and in other countries, they're given to people to go through certain health issues. They're actually prescribed in other countries from doctors to help, move through certain health issues as well. Um, so yeah, I just started sharing about this and it just became my passion. And it was a little over a year ago, I had put an ad out on social media because I'm a busy mom and I was trying to reach more people who really wanted to make an impact too. And this incredible human that I'm about to introduce, and this I'm gonna let introduce herself. She reached out. She knew about this water. She's an absolute ocean queen. She gets it. It's one of those people that are like, you get it. You just get it. Yes. And she's just been flying, just helping people left and right all day long, just crushing this opportunity, but really helping people. And I know that within her business and her organization and her realm, she's seen so many health testimonies in just over a year. So I'm so excited to be hosting this call with this person. I was like, put it out there, like, who wants to host this call with me? And Amanda was like, me. I was like, yeah. All right. So this is a Miss Amanda X Brock. She's amazing. Here she is. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your connection to water because no one says it better than yourself.
Oh, thank you, Destiny. That is quite the setup. I appreciate everyone here. There are so many people in this room that get it too. It's like when people get it, there's no other feeling. There's no other feeling just quite like that. It's just so special. So I appreciate everyone here who really does just get it. My story is just a lot like Destiny's, actually being thrown in the ocean from a young age and honestly not being able to take me out of it. I was nicknamed Swimmy the Fish when my family would go to have lunch. They just couldn't drag me out of the water. And growing up in Florida, the beaches were very nice and clean, but then I began to travel a lot and noticed how much plastic and how much just waste was everywhere. And it really did something to my soul. It kind of like made me question why I am alive at this point in time to experience these beaches and the ocean showing me this. And so it's pretty much become my life's mission to reduce the plastic that is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. There's millions of tons, billions of tons actually in all the oceans. So yeah, I moved and left Florida at a young age, 14 years old, and experienced like New York culture shock, and all of the health changes that come with like the stress of that, including depression and, you know, all the pollutants that are up here from diet to all the lifestyle choices that we can make. I got into health and wellness, and it took me down a path of going the even more left field than I had ever been. My whole family's in Western medicine, and I went the Ayurvedic and the holistic health route, and even got into like organic agriculture for a while. But it took me about 15 years to really realize and embrace that water is the foundation of all of this. And so the quality of this water is the most important thing that we can focus on. So I am so grateful to have come across this technology, and just like Destiny, seen so many incredible testimonies that I just made. I didn't make it my life mission. I realized that there was nothing else that was going to have such an impact on not just people, but the planet, because of course, as within, so without. And so it's been an honor to dance the paradoxes of pouring my time into this, giving of myself, supporting my team, but actually also using this global business model that comes with these systems to be selfish and live my dream out in the ocean when it calls to me. So I'm so grateful for that. And then again, I'm so grateful for everyone here. So we're going to talk about the hydrogen bottles and how they work first. They are handheld devices, right? They're made to be portable. And the way that they work is they use electrolysis to infuse molecular hydrogen gas into the drinking water that's put in them. Most of them have electrodes inside them, and they're just powered with a lithium battery that can be charged by a USB charger. Some of them more recently have included a PEM or an SPE, and these are proton exchange membranes or solid polymer extraction technology in order to separate the hydrogen gas from the oxygen and the chlorine and the ozone, which are actually waste products that comes off of the water when it goes through the process. So these bottles typically need a vent and some kind of membrane to diffuse the hydrogen into the water that's going to be drank. So why are people going for them? Well, it's on the go antioxidant support, right? Everyone is aware at this point. I mean, there are thousands of studies on molecular hydrogen and its therapeutic indications for so many different diseases and ailments that people are really looking at it. People are trying to do what they can to get it into their lives, right? So that's where these bottles kind of come in and make it a portable and also very affordable for most people seeming solution. So we're looking, I mean, there's so many studies and there's so much information that's even being called like the God molecule or God's breath is hydrogen gas. It's a great question, Tora, and we're going to get into whether these bottles have been tested for negative charge. And so the the hydrogen gas is really it's a medical scavenger in existence, and so that's what the marketing is basically hoping people will look at and see, oh, this is creating that, I'm going to get one. And for me, having been invested in a continuous electrolysis generator, seeing the bottles come through, immediately my gut instinct was yes, these companies are attempting to cash in on the trend because they know how powerful and potent this is. But over time, you come to appreciate that people it's putting a lot more eyes on this amazing substance. So how exactly are they working is that we're going to fill the bottle with some type of water. There are some companies that require distilled water. There are some companies that don't really specify. So you can put tap, filtered, whatever you've got. You're going to fill it with water, press a button, and it's going to activate some electrodes at the bottom of it that are going to split the water into hydrogen and oxygen. And then that PEM, ideally, or SPE technology is going to diffuse and dissolve the H2 into the water. And again, hopefully, if there are vents, the ozone and the chlorine gas will be vented out. The thing is that the water is supposed to be drank within 10 to 15 minutes to benefit because dissolved hydrogen dissipates very quickly. So here are the gaps in the technology aspects of the machines versus the bottles. So to go through the machines technology briefly, these are medical grade, of course, right? The Kangen machines use medical grade platinum coated medical grade titanium plates and have about a 712 square centimeter surface area. The plates are patented. With the hydrogen bottles, they're going to be electrodes. They can be platinum, titanium. A lot of times they're aluminum. Typically, it's just generic and not medical grade. And this means that it can leach over time. And this means heavy metals getting into the water. It means a lot of things as far as water quality. So when the plates or the electrodes degrade, there's a lot less hydrogen and a lot less just product. There's a lot less function going on, right? So the main thing here on this next part of the chart is we're talking about the most advanced power supply on the market when you're looking at a Kangen machine. So it's got a transformer, which people call old technology, but they're still on the sides of the road supplying power to every neighborhood everywhere because they are effective and they are so good at stabilizing power and high amounts of power. So we're working with 230 watts in a Kangen machine, and then it's paired with something called an SMPS. So I'm not an electrician. I couldn't tell you what that is other than I know what it does, and it helps channel fluctuations in power. So we've got steady power and then we've got power fluctuations put together with a condenser. And a condenser in the Kangen machine is going to stabilize the actual power and the actual voltage in the plates themselves. And this is what is responsible for creating the highest quality water you can possibly get. So the PEUs there, this stands for potential electrolysis units. And having the most advanced power supply means we're going to have the 250,000 that are required for stable ionization. And this means that the voltage in the water and the hydrogen are going to last longer than anything else that we know of. Right. And so when we're looking at hydrogen, we're looking at lithium batteries charged by a USB. We'll get into what that means a little bit later. The other thing about the Kangen machines is they have a filter. Even the Kangen machines themselves have a premium Kangen filter or premium charcoal carbon filter. In our organization and, a lot of other organizations for chemicals and all these crazy contaminants out of our bodies because whatever is in the water when it's ionized does become more bioavailable too, very important, but to also keep it out of our machines, to keep them running not just longer, but to do a better job, right? So they're not focused on breaking up contaminants, they're able to just make more hydrogen and do more electrolysis. And when we're looking at a hydrogen bottle, oh, is the sound cutting in and out? Is it bad?
You're good now.
Okay, thank you. So thank you. And then when we're looking at hydrogen bottles, the membrane is the only filter that we're working with. So depending on whatever is in the water, the quality of water that you're putting in, the contaminants can be made more bioavailable to the body. And we can also have chlorine and ozone gas being reabsorbed into the water. And this is especially problematic because what we're learning is that these membranes, they degrade over time and they degrade pretty quickly. The other thing is the membranes can biofoul. They're supposed to stay wet because they're a membrane, right? If you think about your tissues, we're supposed to stay hydrated. And when they dry out and get wet again, that will cause degradation, but they will also get stinky. And that's something we hear about. That's not a very nice thing. So this chart is going to talk about the quality and the longevity of the bottles versus these ionizers. So when we're looking at Kangen machines, the water that comes out of a machine is ionized, it's alkalized, it's restructured. And a lot of people don't like to use the term microclustered anymore because it's not really scientifically backed. What it really means is that it's electrostatically dispersed, the molecules. So that makes it more hydrating and it's also electrically charged, which is much different than the hydrogen bottles. And the big difference between the actual hydrogen going on here is it's important to remember any bottle can claim that they're producing any amount of hydrogen, but the important thing to know is how much hydrogen is actually being dissolved into the water. So when we're looking at a Kangen machine, again, I talked about the most advanced power supply on the market. This means 100% saturation of hydrogen. And it's funny when I was learning about the machines before and um, hearing about the bottles claim higher percentages and ppms of hydrogen, I was also at the same time reading a few articles about how the we're in an atmosphere, right? So we have an atmospheric pressure. It's called 1 atm. That's just at the atmospheric pressure. 1 atmosphere is what the Earth atmosphere is referred to as. So the the water can't actually have, it has a maximum amount of hydrogen that can be dissolved in it in 1 atmosphere, right? An open container that's exposed to the atmosphere. And this is the 1.6 part per million that our machines produce. So that's why that's 100% saturation. Um, so the bottles, some of them can claim to have 10 ppm. This is the highest that we've heard of. But when you're going to open that container, it's immediately exposed to the atmosphere, right? If you're going to open it to drink it. So even if it does actually produce that, it's not going to remain. Um, so again, yeah, that's just to reiterate that the max, it's going to drop down to that 1.6 part per million pretty instantly because again, hydrogen dissipates so quickly. So some of the typical bottles have claimed 3 to 5 ppm, but again, that's in the container while it's under pressure. If it is even achieving that kind of concentration, then you got to open it to drink it really quick, right? The other thing that's lacking is the ORP. So this cannot be overstated in the world of water, especially because we know if you ask any acupuncturist, they'll agree that our bodies have meridians, right? And these are channels that actually conduct the electric life force, also known as our chi, right? If you want to go from the woo-woo spectrum all the way to the scientific, it's our auric field that is the electromagnetic manifestation of what's running through our meridians, right? So you can call our aura scientifically, it's just our bioelectromagnetic field. And these are electrons, guys. So this is again, why I spend so much time in the ocean, right? It's not because the ocean is giving me all this hydrogen gas and diffusing my body with gas. The ocean is grounding me to the largest battery that we know, the earth, and it's giving me electric voltage. It's the largest container of living water that we know of. And that means this water is grounded and it's carrying electrons and it's uniting it. I'm uniting the circuit, the biggest circuit into the battery of earth. And I'm actually recharging my cells. And that's why it feels so good to be out in nature, right? So what we're doing with Kangen machines is we're not just creating molecular hydrogen, we're electrolyzing the water like a lightning strike, like we're out in nature, and we're giving this water a voltage of as low as, which is actually pretty high, a negative 800 millivolts. So not to gloss over a book by a Dr. Jerry Tennant called Healing is Voltage. It's pretty ahead of his time because a lot of scientists are now catching up to the fact that disease is really a manifestation of a lack of voltage and almost actually a reversal of the polarities in our body. So our cells and our organs are all these batteries that are maintained by charge and voltage. And that is a key factor in the water and why we're seeing so many amazing testimonials when people drink this water versus a bottle where if there is any ORP or really just the potential to reduce oxidation, and is kind of what that stands for, it won't last very long. It may last 20 minutes. This water lasts for 3 to 4 days out of a Kangen machine. So that kind of negates the whole portability thing, right? Because sure, the bottles are really portable, but you know what? When we pour Kangen water out of a machine into our bottles, hopefully it's a stainless steel or a plastic bottle, that bottle can travel with us for 3 to 4 days too. So the water that comes out is automatic. Twist of a button, flip of a switch, pull of a handle, your faucet's open, the water's running, and it's therapeutic molecular hydrogen water with voltage. Um, some of the, wait, I'm skipping around. So it's consistent. That's one thing. And it's for the quality of the machines, we're offering two different types of cleaning modes that are going to make these systems last at least 25 years. So they're built to last for generations. Because and in doing so, we've got automatic and manual cleaning modes, which means we'll allow the company to do a deep clean and service the machine once a year and keep it like brand new. And we'll do our own maintenance every couple of weeks. The bottles, some of them have what they call self-cleaning modes, some don't. And so some people will have to dump apple cider vinegar in them. Or, I mean, I've heard of people actually putting them in their washing machines, their dishwashers, and breaking them because they didn't realize they're not supposed to put them in a dishwasher. Um, and so again, they don't have very much longevity. They will last maybe several months to a year. The thing is, the with the lithium batteries, they're prone to failure, and it's not just the battery that can fail over time. Like I said before, the electrodes can degrade over time because again, they're not medical equipment and they're not designed to last more than maybe a few years. The last thing about the Kangen machines, as far as quality and longevity, is a 5-year renewable warranty, and it's from an original equipment manufacturer. So this is robust Japanese engineering from a company that makes sure its systems are made by the same set of hands in an 8-month long process. So it's going to follow the same set of hands, and then it's going to undergo a 27-point inspection. And that is the reason why these systems have not just 3 ISO certifications, but a Water Quality Association's triple certification from the Water Quality Association, which is the global authority on water, and it is the only one holding the gold seal. And yes, the warranty on these systems are renewable. The hydrogen bottles are often white labeled and just rebranded across Amazon. So it's very difficult to get support and even maybe a warranty if there is one. Okay, and the functions and features, which is what I was trying to talk about randomly earlier. I don't know why that came into my head because there's so much. The Kangen machines are not just creating drinking water, right? They're creating all sorts, 7 different pHs of water that are going to replace all sorts of cleaning products in our homes, skincare products, and personal care products. And one of the craziest things about these systems is the ability to make true 2.5 pH hypochlorous acid. And there are systems that are on the market that make hypochlorous acid specifically for about $3,000 to $4,000. So to just have that right in there with this therapeutic drinking water and all the other pHs is really insane value for what we're getting. With a hydrogen bottle, there's no ability to change the pH. There's no ability to do any of that. Some of them may just have some lights, some frequencies. Some of them now are having like inhalation components, but again, there's no pH control that exists to actually change the water. And when you're putting reverse osmosis or distilled water, you have to know those minerals are not in there. It is acidic water. So that's one main difference in the functionality. And like I was saying before, the water that's coming out of the Kangen machines is instantaneous. You know, turn on your faucet and you've got a consistent, unlimited output at 1 gallon per minute, 2 gallons per minute for our industrial model of unlimited water for generations, right? And from a hydrogen bottle, you can get a serving, which is usually about 16 ounces. Usually takes 6 to 10 minutes to infuse it with the hydrogen. So the Kangen machines are restructuring the water too. They're alkalizing the water, which is improving the hydration and efficiency, and boosting the bioavailability of minerals and nutrients, and also creating water. And again, this just keeps coming up because it is so important that the water is donating free electrons to our body. And that is something that our bodies recognize. It's something that spring water, the water that we are naturally designed to thrive off of, used to do before it became too polluted to carry that charge. And so that's why I don't think it can be overstated that that is such a main difference with this water. It is actually carrying the life force energy, the chi, that really recharges our body's batteries. And so the hydrogen bottles are adding hydrogen. Yes, this amazing therapeutic antioxidant. Oops. I can't imagine telling my kids to wait 10 minutes for a sip of water. Can you imagine being thirsty? I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, well, you know, you could like every hour, like make your supply. But can you imagine if something happens and you're just sitting there thirsty? Like, oh, shoot, I got to fill my bottle. I got to turn it on. I got to wait. and it's just a single serving at that. What if you've got three thirsty people? So the hydrogen is going to hopefully be in the water if it's designed the way it should. But again, if it's tap, if it's filtered or bottled water, even that people are using, it's going to create, it's going to have whatever contaminants are already there be more bioavailable to our cells on top of that. And again, it's the kind of water that is not donating voltage to our cells. And just to like beat the dead horse a little more with the a point that will really drive it home. And this is a mini electrical lesson or a lesson in electricity. Not that I am an electrician, but one thing that I do know is that just like any force in nature, whether it's pressure, potential energy, kinetic energy, water flows from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration, right? So if you have water that has high voltage and you have a cell that doesn't, it's going to donate those electrons to that cell, right? Recharging its battery. And that's the kind of water we do want to be drinking. But if you have water that doesn't have a charge, it's got a positive charge because if it doesn't have a, it's, I've never seen any water that has a zero, right? It's either positive or negative. And if it's not this water, you can imagine that positive charge is going to draw electricity away from our cells. So again, it may have molecular hydrogen, but it could also be stealing life force voltage from our cells. And that's the main thing that I think about when I'm thinking about would I want to drink from a hydrogen bottle? And so these machines also, the Kangen machines, are certified for medical use from the Japanese Ministry of Labor and Welfare, which is the one of the most stringent systems for certifying a medical device. You know, in 2015, Japan's life expectancy was number 2 in the world, and at the same time, the United States was number 53. So I think you know who I'm going to trust when it comes to my water and healthcare. The hydrogen bottles can leach metals because they're not certified medical devices. They can trap harmful gases in the water. And again, because these systems are not a reliable power supply or materials, they can produce too little or inconsistent levels of dissolved hydrogen gas to the point where it may not be even be therapeutic by the time it gets to us. Okay, so some of the benefits of a hydrogen bottle, you know, the hydrogen is a powerful antioxidant. So you're going to have the targeting of some free radicals if the bottle is functioning as designed. But when you're looking at whether the benefits of that are worth the risk, yes, sure, it's a low ticket investment, but you're going to be replacing it every year at least if you want to keep that consistency, if you want to keep drinking the water with hydrogen in it. Yes, it's lightweight, it's portable, but these machines can travel. So is a bottle when you fill it up with Kangen water. And, you know, it's not gonna, you know, it's not at risk of like breaking if you throw it in the dishwasher, just a bottle that you're carrying around, right? A regular stainless steel bottle. Yeah, you're gonna hopefully have some reduced inflammation and, you know, if there's a therapeutic level of hydrogen gas in there, improved energy and workout performance recovery, maybe some clearer skin and a healthier gut. But again, like I said before, you're not actually drinking water that's biocompatible, that your body is restoring itself completely. You're getting flat, devitalized water, but it's got a therapeutic antioxidant gas in it. And so some of the downfalls, there's quite a few that I could find, is that without pre-filtration, most importantly, and a proper design, you're not getting the therapeutic benefits, the safety, or the multifunctionality of a continuous electrolysis generator, which is just another fancy term for a Kangen machine. Uh, they are prone to battery failure pretty quickly, and this happens. They are the membranes, the PEMs or the SPEs, or even just the seal on the bottle will degrade over time, and that's going to leave you vulnerable to the ozone or chlorine gas that we talked about. The electrodes can corrode, which can lead to heavy metals going into the water. And then again, the inconsistent hydrogen levels. So they're not reliable either due to buildup on the electrodes or the weak circuits, those cheaper power supplies that we talked about, or the cheap parts just breaking down over time. And very, very importantly, there is no filter on these bottles. So again, the contaminants will stay in there if they are there. Nothing's gonna magically take them away once it's in the bottle. And so it's up to the consumer to be aware of the quality of the water that they're putting in there. Again, if there is a warranty, it's usually very short. These bottles are not made to last a very long time. So you're lucky if there is one. They are easy to misplace. You could drop them, you could break them, shatter the glass, or have the electronic parts in them just start dysfunctioning, and that's going to reduce the capability. And you do want to be able to have these things to be portable, right? To move around, but then then there's the risk of knocking them around and damaging them. So the other thing is that most really are knockoffs. We've seen people just invest the $50, the $100, and start drinking from their bottles and just report that, they really didn't even notice anything. So that's the other risk, is that you could just buy something and experience absolutely no benefit, all to sit there with water that you push a button and you're wasting your time waiting 10 or 15 minutes for a single serving of water. And again, doesn't go without saying again, this water still does not provide voltage. And so it continues draining our cellular batteries. Yes, maybe while bringing a certain amount of antioxidant potency, if there is truly a therapeutic level of molecular hydrogen present.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Amanda. You guys got some great information there, right? I feel there's literally no other human on this planet who is better suited to educate us on that. So thank you for that time and just the research you did into that. Okay, so let's dive into really some more, differences in this. Um, I want to go back to a couple slides ago where Amanda had, there was a slide that said, what are the benefits? Now I want to just be clear that the benefits that were listed there are only going to be received if this is the only water that you're consuming. So how is that possible? So how much ionized water does the average family go through? We're going to go through a family of 4 here, and this is actually on the lower end. Drinking water is 2 to 4 gallons a day. Cooking, boiling, rinsing, steaming, making coffee, oatmeal, 2 to 4 gallons a day. The total is between 4 and 8 gallons a day, and it's definitely closer to 8 for a family of 4. And this could just be like how much water a family goes through as well. We're just going to do it in retrospect of, using our ionizers, our medical in-home ionizers, versus the bottles. So our Kangen ionizer can create 8 gallons in under 10 minutes. 8 gallons in under 10 minutes. So in under 10 minutes, depending on the flow and your pre-filtration, it's around 10 minutes there. So that's how long it takes to get your water for the whole entire day. To create that amount, it would take a bottle 384 minutes, which is just under 6.5 hours. Creating enough drinking water for one person would take 48 minutes. And I actually redid this too. So let's just look at this visually. I'm a visual learner. I just want to really share this because this is a huge, huge reason right here. Like if you're valuing your health, it's, this water is so incredible for cooking. Anyone can come on here and share how this water has improved, their rice, their vegetables, their sauces, their soups, their bone broths, all of that. People that are making nut milks, this water will allow that to last longer. But 384 minutes is what it's going to take to create this water through a hydrogen bottle for an average family of 4. And that's just average, right? Again, we have our machine here. It can do it in under 10 minutes. So in under 10 minutes, you have it on demand. And again, looking back at all the data that Amanda shared, you're getting such a superior product coming out of that hose than you would with the bottle. So yes, what about the drinking water? I actually had it wrong. So 16 ounces in 6 to 10 minutes. The previous 48 minutes was on the low spectrum. So if you're trying to make enough hydrogen water for just you to drink today, it's going to be 80 minutes. So you need to devote an hour and a half of your day just to create your water. And I timed our machine hooked up with the pre-filter at the well, and it was 1.5 minutes to create 1 gallon at a perfect steady flow that's flowing over our titanium, our platinum dip titanium plates at a perfect flow rate that's acquiring the most hydrogen with the correct electrical output. And another reminder, like I said before, you guys, drinking molecular hydrogen water is most beneficial if it's the only water you drink. Filling up one of these bottles and having it with you and drinking maybe 1 or 2 a day, and then the rest of the water is, from different sources, you're not going to experience the benefits. In fact, if you've seen any of our water demos, you'll notice that acidic water with lower ORP, or I should say positive ORP, that's more on the oxidating level, it actually cancels out the benefits of the good water, right? So again, this is really important to let people know, like, if that's the only water you're drinking, okay, good. But are you able to create enough water for you to consume in one day? And the majority of the people I know that have these bottles, you guys, they're in the fitness classes. They are on their health journey. They know how important hydration is. They're not drinking soda. So to make sure that they're creating enough for their whole entire day is so important, and that they're not taking the bottle with them and filling up at the, just a random sink somewhere. And we're going to dive into how important it is to make sure that your water quality is on top. So again, are the benefits worth the risks? That's up to you to decide. $100 to $500 for portability and short-lived doses of questionable levels of hydrogen. It might seem convenient. And to some, yes, it is. And again, you guys, this is a step in the right direction. But what if that expense takes you farther away from a one-time investment? What if it doesn't actually transform your life? There's people that are reading about, the importance of this water, and they're expecting results from something that isn't actually able to deliver them. And here's some important considerations too. So dissolved hydrogen, it's the smallest possible molecule. It rapidly diffuses across the surfaces and goes through the barriers. What we call solids, the amount of produced hydrogen is irrelevant, but how much is dissolved? It's really important. Again, Amanda touched on these, so I'm just going to cruise through them for time's sake. Atmospheric pressure limits the amount of hydrogen that remains once the container is opened. So we create our hydrogen water, we open it up, we take a sip. Now we close the top. Unfortunately, the rest of the water that's in there has already lost its magic, essentially, from that first sip. So it's almost a counterproductive situation when you think about it. Again, some bottles use UV light sterilization, which is great, but it can affect the hydrogen and actually diminishes in efficiency over time. If portability is the main desire, consider the water quality varies greatly, and having a travel-friendly filter is necessary. Our machines, except for the under-the-counter one, travel really well and go through TSA. You've probably seen a lot of us taking our water through TSA. I know that when we travel as a family, it's, at least a gallon going through. And people are always like, how do you do that? And it's possible because, again, of our ISO medical certification. If affordability is the main issue, consider that each machine comes with a global business that never expires. We have third-party funding, and we don't ding your credit or even require your social security to apply. So there's opportunities to get this machine for, not too much more than, honestly, some of the best hydrogen water bottles that are out there. And quality doesn't cost, it pays. You'll never replace a Kangen machine. Yeah, 25 plus years. That's a quarter of a century. I'm sitting in my car thinking about that. Like, I wish my car would would last that long, because it's a good investment right there. So And then every 21 days you spend without a machine is time you could have experienced the benefits, or thrown money away on a bottle that still produces biologically unsatisfactory water. I love those words. Good job, Amanda. All right, so this is really important right now. So the water added is just as important as the benefits you're looking for. The issue is that these companies are selling and sharing the benefits of H2 without education on the water going into the water bottle. What happens when improperly filtered water is activated in a hydrogen water bottle? It's counterproductivity. So we're going to start over here, right here. So here's the water that has contaminants. The majority of our water does. And again, if you're grabbing bottles of distilled water from the grocery store, or maybe alkaline water from the grocery store, and that's your addition, you have to understand that none of that is regulated also. And plastic leaches. Any Essentia alkaline water, the first ingredient is reverse osmosis, which we know leaches from whatever container is in there. So in that water, that you're adding to your machine is going to have microplastics, and BPA-free chemicals are just as disruptive to our endocrine system as BPAs. So we got to remember that whatever water is going in there is going to get essentially electrocuted, right? It's going to become more bioavailable, which means that it's going to be able to enter your bloodstream, your skin, your cellular membranes much, much faster. Now, that's absolutely amazing to have that happen with the water, but we don't want that to happen with what's in the water, right? We need to make sure the water is really, really clean. So what happens after those toxins and those, additives that we are in municipal tap and even in bottled water go into our system, right? There's our body starts to create, unfortunately, the exact issues that we most likely invested in this water to prohibit our body from having: stress, inflammation, gut issues, and fatigue. Because that water that is going in there has chemicals and toxins, that get into our bloodstream even faster through the process of creating hydrogen in the bottle with the electricity there. The water is quickly absorbed into the organs and the tissues, carrying the toxins with it. It results in them entering the body with more abundance. And over time, this results in developing issues the water is initially supposed to guard the body from. So do you see where that counterproductivity can become an issue? So again, another reminder is, if this is something you choose to have, make sure that the water that is always going in there for the 80 minutes you're creating enough for you to drink is as highest quality filtered as possible. Within our community, we pair the best filtration on the planet. We take this water thing seriously, you guys. So when you purchase your ionizer, you're also going to be supported with an educated distributor and pairing it with a filter option that cleans the water first, right? So none of that is in the water when it becomes bioavailable. The water is just as clean as it can get when the H2 enters your bloodstream. And if you do choose a bottle as your main source, please consider investing in a filter to keep the water source clean. Please feel free to reach out to whoever invited you guys here. We have lots of different options we're not going to dive into. We have other calls that we've done that. We're happy to share with you. But with that being said, just make sure that, that water's clean. And this is a picture of the hydration station we have here in Maui. So the water goes through this super high grade filter before it's ionized, and everything that comes out of here is as clean as possible before it enters our bodies. So why have so many people switched from bottles to Kangen machines? Well, there's an endless supply for sharing and cooking, etc. We have the other 100+ uses for eliminating plastics and toxins. We have a 52-year-old company that has been making up over 88% of the ionizer market, right? They've been around for a really long time. They've got skin in the game. They've got the certifications. They are OEM. Everyone is made in-house. And yeah, again, the elite certifications we'll dive into next. And the machine does have a filter included and add-on options if you. So people have realized that, okay, I definitely want to invest in my health. I really want this. I keep seeing the studies, but I think it's important that I get the real thing. We've got the sustainability and non-toxic tool. You guys, this is so much fun for us to talk about. And Amanda is a straight up, her goal is to eliminate single plastic in her lifetime. And it's gonna happen because within our organization alone, like Annie, I don't even know how many K8s are in your organization. I'd love to know, but think about how many less products we're purchasing, right? So we get to create a 2.5, which is the hypochlorous acid water. It is an all-purpose spray sanitizer. It's 100 times more efficient at killing bacteria than bleach, but it's not harmful. If your kid puts it in their mouth or their eye, it's not harmful. It might sting a little bit, but our body actually has hypochlorous acid in it. So it actually bonds with our body really well, and it kills staph and MRSA. There's a fruit and veggie wash with the 11.5 here. We can create laundry detergent, degreaser, stain remover, detangler. It's an Epsom salt alternative for our soaking in the bath, which is really nice. And we have our beauty water. It's a 6.0 pH, skin, hair care, window cleaning, surface polishing, plants, rashes, so many different things. You guys, we have a list of 100 plus uses. If you want to see it, please reach out. Maybe someone can drop it in the chat here too, if someone's asking for it that doesn't already have it. But it's so incredible to look through there and be like, wait, the same water machine that you're just saying can hydrate you and do all of those benefits can do this too. So it's really an incredible investment on so many different levels. And here's our certifications right here. It's a global debt-free company we work with. They're called Enagic. They're out of Japan. They're turning 51 next month in June. We're going to all go there and celebrate. It's going to be pretty amazing. They've withstood 7 recessions, and the majority of people's business, personal business, and the business of Enagic tripled in 2020. Kangen machines hold 88% of the market as far as ionizers go. This is all the ones we offer right here. So there's different sizes. This one right here is called the Super. This one's incredible for restaurants, for farms. It's got a high output. It's absolutely mind-blowing what's being done with these water machines in farms, in growing, in microgreens, in herbalism, all the things. And then we've got the K8, which is really what Amanda has really been comparing the bottles to. And then, like she said, we have the WQA seal of approval forever. There it is. It's the main one right there for any water, actually like filter product whatsoever. And then these are our certifications, but this 13485 is what really makes this, impossible to compare to, basically, whether we're comparing to an ionizer or a hydrogen bottle. This is always going to be the one that really is going to set that apart. That's our medical grade device certification. We have got DSA, only about 200 members are part of this prestigious certification, and OEM. Again, made by the same person, the 27-point inspection. This company has, it has been through a lot, and it's really created the best over time. And we know that they last long because they've been around for a long time. And there's pictures and videos of these people bringing their machines in, these old machines they don't even make anymore that are still working. They bring them into their local office to get their deep clean. And, these people are like, yeah, I've had this for 15, 17, 20 years. This is really important that I think that we really need to share that hasn't been spoken about enough. And this is an important consideration. So a lot of these machines are really, really, really supported to pretty intense health issues. I'm not talking just energy and brain fog. I'm talking like serious health issues, right? That really can change somebody's trajectory of their healing journey from, things that that make people's lives cut short. Like, I don't want to say die, but this is the truth of the matter, right? So anyone who's really looking to support a health issue, it is really, really important to consider the importance of investing in a medical grade water ionizer. Okay, as easy as portable bottles are, when it comes to truly trying to help an issue, that is, a game changer for you that might be the difference of whether you get to see your grandchildren play a soccer game or not. Please consider what's been proven over time. Um, this is a really important thing to share. I think that, again, it needs to come up because when we're investing in our health, $30 device off of Amazon, unfortunately, there's a good chance that it's going to give you results or no results at all, but you're going to write it off. There's people that write it off because the only experience they've had is with a bottle that wasn't able to produce the correct water that's needed for a healing journey for them. So if that is something that you have invested in for a certain reason, for a disease or a health issue that's really, really, detrimental and happening in your life, please reach out to somebody and, get on a water share, really help, make that happen, that you're at least getting the real water that has the Molecular Hydrogen Water Institute, that has the PubMed studies, that has all of that and has had it for years. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Where are we at here? What have we learned? So handheld devices, this is what we've learned, right? Like portable hydrogen bottles, they seem convenient, but many fall short in delivering true therapeutic benefits. Without proper pre-filtration or advanced design, the users risk exposure to ozone or chlorine gas from leaking seals, heavy metals from corroded electrodes, and inconsistent hydrogen output. Cheap components often lead to battery failure, weak circuits, and minimal or no filtration. This will leave contaminants in your water, and with limited warranties, fragile builds prone to damage, and long wait times for small volumes of water, these devices often fail to live up to the hype. Now, I was like thinking, I was like, okay, if this was my hydrogen water bottle, how long would it last? How long would I trust that the battery was in its right spot, that the seal was good, and it's glass, right? So I don't know about you, but when we take water with us, I feel like it's put in our purse. And even as careful as people can be with these bottles, there is damage that comes that we might not even know. And it's really just the constant movement that can really affect the way that these bottles, create and output the water. So, while those bottles, are convenient, our machines remain the gold standard in long-term wellness and performance. Precision engineering, these systems are designed to last 25 years. The uses, drinking, cooking, we went over them. There's so many more. And those were truly committed to upgrading their water and their lifestyle and really investing in their health. Like I know that so many people that are watching this right now or are going to watch the recording do. This efficiency and value that we're talking about with these ionizers are going to save you money and time over and over and over and over again. So thank you. Amanda, you want to come out and close us out too? I know you have some really great words to really end on too.
Sure. I was just typing into the chat. Thank you, everyone, for your time. This is such an important conversation when it comes to the substance that makes up more than 99% of our actual molecules in our biology, right? If we're bioelectrical beings, we really ought to know down to the nitty-gritty what we're getting. And yes, I think in conclusion, it's great to have attention on what people are calling the God molecule, this amazing antioxidant. And it's nice to know that with some clarity, we can all help each other experience the water that not only has that, but is biologically compatible for our bodies and not stealing the life force from it. So thank you everyone for being here for this important information.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I think a lot of them got in the chat. Does anyone have any questions? If you have a question on Facebook and you're watching this, please drop it in the chat and we'll have somebody get back to you and, give you the information. We have some great information in the guide section in our Facebook group, so feel free to check that out too. Yeah. Does anyone want to come out? Come off
You
mute.
do the info when there's no questions.
Okay, we did it.
Cheers,
Um,
guys.
all right, amazing, you guys. Uh, yeah, whoever invited June, get June up in that Facebook group.
All
Cool.
right.
Thanks, you guys. We appreciate this recording will be available as soon as Wi-Fi comes back on. And thanks, you guys, for just being part of this and really being open-minded. And Amanda, you're just amazing. I'm so grateful to educate the masses alongside. Go get some waves.
Love it. Love you. Love you, everyone. And thank you. Thank you again.